This, my friends, is a Dacia Spring Extreme 65. And what does it have in common with a Lamborghini Aventador? Both of them don't have an NCAP rating. Let's go for a drive. Okay, what is NCAP? NCAP started in the UK around 1996, 1997 and was there in conjunction with Europe, or the European Union, call it what you will, at that time in history, and they were driving forward the safety aspects of vehicles, and that's a good thing. I'm all for that. Some of this stuff is going to be controversial. Some you may not like on my opinions, some you may agree with. Comment below. Also, if you've got any interesting vehicles, from, let's say, from a Heinkel Trojan bubble car through to a Bugatti, get in touch with me and maybe I can bring your vehicle on the channel. Yeah, that would be really good. NCAP. So what they do is and there's an equivalent over in America. Yes, so there we are, that's balanced. They do various crash scenarios and give a vehicle a rating from 1 through to 5 on its specific level of safety, where 1 is not particularly safe and 5 is particularly safe, right? And it also includes things like the understanding of survivability in a major accident. Want to put things into context right now from my perspective before I start giving my opinions on this. I've never been in a major accident in a car, never. The last time I had a little accident, which was a scuff on a wing, and I can't even remember whose fault it was. It might have been mine, I don't know. That was over 25 years ago. So when we're looking at safety and making sure everything's an absolute safe thing in the vehicle, you might want to ask yourself context of whether you are likely to have a severe accident where death may be imminent. There we go. So, from my perspective, so now we've already understood that the Lamborghini Aventador and many, many, many supercars do not have an NCAP rating. But I guarantee you this, for those that are constantly complaining about NCAP not being available on this particular Dacia Spring, I suspect you would be more than happy to go and have a Lamborghini Aventador ride. I suspect. However, that's just me being obnoxious. So, what's happened over the last sort of 25 years? I see NCAP, and from a safety perspective, I've been in the aviation industry and safety is number 1. But when it comes to NCAP, I almost feel like it was a marketing exercise. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I see 2 sides of it. 1, the safety aspect, so you have a clear understanding if you're going to die or not. And 2, marketing. Let's have a look at marketing. Since 2000, maybe 2005, the decisions on purchases of cars has radically changed. Used to be the guy that decided, now it's the wife. Yeah, and you see so many husbands walking around at work, driving around in an SUV that they don't want. What they wanted was an Audi A6 RS or something like that, but no, they're driving around in an SUV. That's why SUVs are so popular today, because they are super safe for our cotton wool covered children who sit in the back. I'm just saying, that's how I see it. I'm not saying that women shouldn't be, mothers shouldn't be contributing to what vehicles should be brought in to manage family needs. I'm not saying that. Oh, by the way, trust me, in the past, I was hell-nagged on what car I could have and couldn't have. So I've been there, and I ended up driving around in cars that were a waste of time from my perspective. My perspective. I didn't want to be in an Audi A6 2-litre diesel. I wanted to be in another type of car. I wanted to be having I wanted to enjoy the car, not just use it to go back and forwards to work, which I did. So NCAP today performs certain crash tests on certain vehicles, certain brands, certain models, yeah? And then they give a result. Some of those results have been dubious and questionable, on the understanding that NCAP is financed by, primarily, the motor industry and local governments across Europe. So there could be some conflicts of interest. Let's say that. Conflicts of interest. And I've been there in the business world, where conflicts of interest sometimes bring a compromise to the end result based on handshakes in the gents' toilet. And I don't mean that kind of handshake, yeah? There's a Nissan 300Z overtaking, wonderful car. That's what most men want. They don't want an SUV. This is just my opinion. Comment below what your thoughts are. So now I see the situation where downtrodden men are coming to work in whatever vehicle it is, and they just don't want it, and they wanted something else. And then I see another side of the story, that those downtrodden men are really pissed off because the divorced guys that are coming into work are driving the cars that they want to drive, which is bizarre. It's just, it's just an observation, yeah? It's an observation. And they come into work, and the guys that are in whatever sports car it is, tend to be a bit more smiley, yeah? Is this ringing tones with you? Yeah, I'm just saying what I think. NCAP is important. The understanding of how safe a vehicle is important, but I'm guessing most of you wouldn't mind having a really good session or owning an Aerial Atom for a year. Aerial Atom. Let's get some photos up. Yeah, I'm just saying. I haven't got an Aerial Atom. I'm just saying. Yeah. Where maybe the passion in motoring has been eroded. That's a great word. I shall use that in a future video. Eroded away from the mindset of certain men. Don't start overtaking. I don't know. Jesus Christ. Overtaking on blind corners. That's why we have NCAP. My goodness. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Have you been henpecked and had to have whatever car it was agreed? Is agreed the right word? Is it more compromised? I don't know. There's nothing wrong with SUVs. I'm not saying that. There's nothing wrong with having an SUV to protect your cotton wool covered children. There's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I never covered my children with cotton wool. And the arguments that caused was unbelievable. I tried my best. A lot of the time, I did lose. I did lose, if I'm open and transparent. She won. She won. And I went into work like, yeah, morning, in whatever car I was driving. I mentioned the Audi A6. I cannot believe I went into an Audi showroom to buy a brand new Audi A5 convertible and walked out with a goddamn Audi A6 2-litre diesel. I cannot believe I did that. I cannot believe it. My goodness. And I had to pay for everything. Anyway, that's another subject. I hope you found this interesting, informative, controversial. What's your thoughts on NCAP? Yeah? Would you prefer to drive a nice BMW SUV that's got an NCAP rating of 5? Or would you prefer to be driving a Lamborghini Aventador? This is about NCAP, not the Dacia Spring. Yes? What would you prefer to drive on a regular basis? I hope you enjoyed this. Drive and ride safely, be kind to each other, and eat healthily. I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.